I'm Patty Ann Brown, and you are in the strategy room. A federal judge has threatened to hold the IRS commissioner in contempt after his agency failed to produce as ordered newly recovered emails of former IRS official Lois Lerner. The judge ordered the IRS back on July 1st to turn over Lerner emails on a weekly basis in response to a lawsuit by the watchdog group Judicial Watch. But so far it hasn't happened. Here with reaction, Democratic strategist Stephen Cobb and Republican strategist Amos Snead. Thank you both for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having us.
So U.S. District Court Judge Emmett Sullivan ordered the IRS to produce these Lerner emails weekly every Monday. That order came 4 weeks ago. So far, no emails. And now Judge Sullivan says, quote, if there is further noncompliance, I will haul into court the commissioner of the Internal Revenue Service to show cause why he should not be personally held in contempt of court. He is referring to Commissioner John Koskinen. Stephen, what's your reaction?
I think this has gotten blown out of proportion just a little bit. The IRS isn't withholding emails. It was just having issues complying with the weekly rolling production. As the attorney for the Justice Department pointed out during that hearing, it creates an undue burden with the production and asked the court if they could go to a bi-weekly production as opposed to a weekly production because of the limited resources the IRS has to go ahead and review these documents and churn them out on a weekly basis, and said that it would cut down the review time, I think, by a quarter if they were able to do it bi-weekly as opposed to every week.
It's been a month, though. I mean, that's 4 weeks.
My understanding from a review of the transcript is that they've made 2 productions. They just haven't made 4 productions.
Okay.
And so it was the issue of, again, the frequency with which they're making them, not whether or not they are going to produce the emails in question.
They have produced some of them, and they are posted on the Judicial Watch website. Amos, the issue here, of course, is IRS targeting of conservative groups. An investigation back a while ago found that the IRS subjected groups like the Tea Party to long delays and extra scrutiny when they applied for tax-exempt status. And Judicial Watch, which filed the suit that led to this recent court order, is now saying, quote, that Obama administration officials would risk jail rather than disclose these Lerner documents shows that the IRS scandal has just gotten a whole lot worse. Amos, do you agree with that? Does it suggest the administration is hiding something?
Hey, I do agree with that, and I'm thankful that this process is taking place now. You know, it has been months since we first heard about the IRS targeting conservative groups, and I believe the Obama administration, the IRS officials thought, let's just sweep this under the rug, and the American people will not continue to pay attention to it, and oh yeah, all of our emails are gone. So I'm just thankful this process is continuing so we can look into this and really see what happened, and was the IRS targeting conservative groups based on their political beliefs?
Well, Patty Ann, let's be clear here. The Judicial Watch press release really didn't have a whole lot to do with the actual arguments that were made during this hearing. Those emails, according to the transcript of that hearing, are being produced. The issue is just on how frequent they're going to do it.
You know, you're talking about a Judicial Watch press release, but what I'm talking about is the actual statement by the federal judge who is saying not only that he might hold the IRS commissioner in contempt, he's also talking about the lawyer representing the IRS, Jeffrey Klimas, who was provided by the Justice Department. And he gave the judge, as you mentioned, several reasons why the disclosures haven't started yet. But Judge Sullivan said, quote, the government's position is clearly indefensible. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. Stephen, what about that? I mean, that's the judge. This isn't Judicial Watch.
Right. Well, the transcript from that indicates that the defense that he was describing as indefensible was that the government was waiting for the judge to memorialize his comments from July 1 in a written order so that they could file a motion to reconsider based upon the issues that they were putting before him. And the judge was not handling that and just said, when I tell you to do something from the bench, just do it. Any arguments to the contrary are indefensible. So it wasn't his frustration clearly came through the issue of whether or not the government should wait for a written order to file a motion, and less on the fact of whether or not the IRS was withholding any emails. That wasn't discussed. It was the issue of whether it's biweekly or every week.
All right. So, Stephen, we're getting a little bit into the weeds here. But Amos, the judge did also warn that the lawyer himself could also be held in contempt and thrown in jail. He said something about, you're standing there in front of me right now. That might not always be the case. He's making some threats here. Other than these threats from the judge, what more can be done to get these emails out there?
Yeah, I'm glad the judge is doing this because I think most Americans were outraged that the IRS would target you based on your political beliefs. And I don't think it'll shock anybody watching this program right now that the IRS and the Obama administration are dragging their feet on this. So I think they're going to have to do anything they can to get them to comply here so we can really get to the bottom of this and figure out what happened.
Well, interestingly, Patty, and one of the issues that the government lawyer pointed out is that it's challenging for the IRS to comply with this expedited production schedule when they've had their budget cut by Congress by something along the lines of 20%.
Well, but I mean, going back to the beginning here, these emails were missing and they were supposedly irretrievable, wiped off of a hard drive. And I mean, this goes way back. It's not like they didn't know that the government wanted to see these emails from way, way back. Right, Amos?
Yeah, and I think so. And it's almost laughable that this is the IRS's excuse. I mean, how many of us, when we have a contact with the IRS, can say, "Oh, well, we had those emails, but we lost them. Sorry about that. We'll get them to you next time." I mean, it's almost laughable.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Stephen Cobb, Amos Snead, thank you both. And check out foxnews.com for more on this developing story. I'm Patty Ann Brown. Thanks for watching.